Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Yeah, hello. Good morning, everyone. How are you all today? Hang on a second. I'm just trying to, there we go. It's a bit of a hectic day here today. I was logged. I couldn't access this page this morning, so that was a little bit stressful, but we got that fixed. Good morning. How are you? Please say hello. Let's have a little bit of interaction before I get started here. Nice to see you guys coming on. Hello from North Van. Hey, Lois. Thank you. Adina, lovely to see you. Lisa, nice to see you too. Thank you for joining. Carol, Alea, hey, good morning, guys. Nice to see you. Thank you for saying hello. Yeah. And Irene, yeah, good morning. And so Irene is joining us this morning, and Irene is a student of mine who is going to, there's a lot of Spanish people actually that follow me, and Irene speaks Spanish and she's a student. And so if there's something that you have a question from, if you're Spanish and you want clarification or so, please type it in the chat and Irene will do her best to help you, with that. We're going to see if we can expand on that and do that. And so, yeah, for those of you that are live, that do that. So thank you for that. That's excellent. And hi, Krista, and hi, Larry. Nice to see you here. And Melanie, yeah, hey, good morning from Connecticut. Yeah, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, and so I know many of you watch this later on YouTube, and so I want to just extend a really warm welcome to you as well. And I'm grateful that for your time, because time is precious and that you come here. And also, besides your time, though, that there is a willingness to connect with like-minded people, people who follow me tend to be people that not only just want to make their own life better, but they want to be part of the change that makes life better. And so I just so appreciate all of you and the paths that you walk. Hi, Crystal. Nice to see you here. Thank you for saying hello. And yeah, and for those of you that come here live, thank you. And I would also really appreciate, I don't ask this much, but if you think this is worthwhile, that you share this, and that, because what happens is when we share, I really focus on the message of joining versus the message of separation. And I really focus also on messages of consciousness, if you will. But to me, consciousness is taking responsibility and having integrity for who you are in the world. And so if we can create more communities of people where we hang out and that's happening, the world is a better place. My tagline is, together we are more, right? Together we are more. And of course, it's living with purpose too. But how you change your life is, consciously. So hello and welcome to Conscious Conversations for the month of the Metal Pig. It's November, and I'm sure how many of you have been feeling not only wake-up calls throughout the whole year, but in the last 2 weeks particularly have been feeling more anxious. Oh, I'm just going to turn my phone off here. Feeling more anxious, feeling more anxiety, just this uncertainness, it's like definitely. And so part of that is because of the solar eclipse and the cycle of the moons that we're in. But the pig is also very typically an energy, it's Scorpio type energy. It's deep, it's dark, and water in Chinese metaphysics is also associated with, it's actually sometimes even called the abysmal. But the image of, yeah, good morning, everybody. The image that I posted on Facebook the other day of the eclipse, the darkness before the light, like it literally is a time right now where we're walking a bit in the dark to get to the light. So, for those of you that have never met me, which is mostly people later on YouTube and that, I'm a Feng Shui master located here in Vancouver, but really I'm so much more than that. I've been studying metaphysics for 40 years. and all different types from Western astrology and crystals and all those things. And now today in my practice, I integrate all those modalities. My expertise definitely is in Chinese metaphysics and Chinese astrology, but why do I work and study with that? Because the world is a matrix of energy. It actually has formula. It actually has patterns, and we have patterns. And when we align ourselves with these energies, when we align ourselves and work with these energies, I use the word that we are in flow. And it's like trying to make a tomato grow when it's winter. It's not going to grow, and you will suffer if you think. Now, this is the part that human beings have that plants don't have. If you think it should be different. So I really teach you how the energies of now are vibrating with you and how to align yourself with the right actions at the right time. Now, yes, we know you could build a greenhouse and have lights in the greenhouse and grow vegetables in the winter, but you are going against nature. Now, not that that's not a good thing, but you have to understand that nature in the end will win. And what I really like about the energies that are happening now, while they're really intense and deep and affecting all of us, yeah, feel like not belonging any longer. That's perfect, Crystal, that you wrote that down, because we are all going through a rebirth. We're shedding our skin. Okay, so let me just get into some of my notes here, right? I really appreciate your comments. So please, I'll look at them as much as I can, and I'll during what I'm talking about. So here's the process for today. It typically takes around 45 minutes to an hour. I'm going to give you some overall insights for what's going on. Then we're going to go to the individual day masters of your chart. We're going to look at the feng shui as well, and then I'm going to give you a couple activations. Okay. So my purpose and intention always is to bring you into your power versus into your fear and resistance. That's why we do the full moon circle, because that's actually a really important part of this whole thing. Because inside of us, the whole of who we all are is yang and yin. And most of the world has been focusing on just the yang, which is like the doing. But actually, in order to do doing better, so to speak, like to have better results with activations and the feng shui, and even in our lives, you actually need to raise your vibration. You need to raise your vibration. And how do you raise your vibration? That's through inner work and process work, because the biggest part of raising your vibration is releasing the blocks, the subconscious stories that are preventing you from moving forward. Okay. So that's Moon Circle. That, and even in conscious manifestations, this new group that's so fun. I'll talk a little bit more at the end about that, right? That we're doing. It's like we are exploring. Yes, I give you these trippy things like, oh, let's do a candle magic ceremony, or let's look at your spirit guide, or let's look at those things. But I look at the bigger existential questions as to why is that important? Because just telling you do this will not empower you. It's like, why? What is your destiny? What is your karma? So we are here to live a life of action, not reaction. And the biggest emotion that people are feeling right now, and this is what the month of the pig is going to bring, and this is what the eclipse is bringing, and this is what's coming, actually, still, I'm going to say for the next 2 months, okay, guys, is fear. So if I asked you, what is your biggest fear? What is your biggest fear? Is your biggest fear not having, yeah, you want to wake up in a normal world? Well, yeah, common sense. You know what that means actually, Crystal, is taking your focus off what doesn't make sense and actually focusing on what does make sense, because you get to make a choice, right? You get to make a choice. So that's a life of action. But sometimes choices don't feel good because we're afraid of what we're going to lose or whatnot. So we all have fears. Some of my fears are being helpless. So when a health issue comes up, it really pushes me into my fear. And so some of the things that I'm actually working about too is fear. But you know what? I have the power in any given moment to relax. This is the biggest thing I'm learning these days. No matter what's happening, I can relax. And if I can relax my thoughts, if I can relax into my body, I have raised my vibration. Usually the fear goes away, and what I'm manifesting is greater. So I am having greater results in manifesting really than I ever have by combining all this together. So there's a lot going on. I want the best way to help you with looking at all what's going on is to reframe how you're looking at it and to see fear as your friend. And yes, we're going more into the fear for the next 2 months. But the fear is there to help you see what you don't want. And kind of, as one of my teachers would say, to pull your big girl panties up, right? Like, we have to grow up here. Because what we're actually being taught is how much responsibility and power we actually have. And so, darkness, fear, right? So think of fear as darkness. What happens if you bring it to the light? It disappears. And so that's the gift of these next 3 months, is to actually just realize we are in a time of darkness, and in your mind, metaphorically hold on to your spirit guide or your animal guide or your angel or whomever it is, God, that you hang on to, and walk me, even in your mind, see me holding your hand as we walk through the darkness together. All right. So tomorrow, I believe it's tomorrow. No, Monday. Monday is November 7th. Okay. And this is when the month of the metal pig starts. And even though it says metal on the top, the pig represents water. We are entering into the season of water. And it's actually, the image by itself is a very, very powerful month, guys. Why is it so powerful? Because the pig is best friends to the tiger, which is the year. So really, and the pig is a growth animal. So again, the whole year has been through portals, but this is another big portal where the opportunity to walk through the fear to get to the light is there, but you can't get to the light unless you walk through the fear. So this is our process this month, okay? This is our process. Take time, whether you're working in our full moon meditation or whether you join Manifesting Magic or whatnot, regardless, take time to explore the darkness. This is my gift to you this month, okay? So the question that's happening, what the pig is offering, is what is your relationship to power? There will be global shifts around power. We see that. There's fear around the elections and that. Okay, so stop looking at your fear. You can notice that it's over there, but focus then on buying flowers. Focus on a thought, because here's how you manifest. I'm giving away secrets here. You have to focus on what you want. You guys all know this, right? What you grow, what you focus on expands. So watching the news, gossiping negatively about people and all that stuff brings you more of that. You have to learn to change your behaviors. So there are global shifts around power, and what we're looking at is control and lack of control, all of us. Okay, this is the theme for the month, and this is the month to find your courage. Now, courage doesn't have to be that you speak up. Courage can be just willingness to experience this from a conscious state rather than resistance. So how would resistance be? And maybe you need to eat extra sugar during the month to cope, or maybe you need to distract yourself, but I'm going to encourage you a little bit to instead just be in it, all right? So, and the big trick here as you work through the fear. So if I said to you, you want more love, right? You want more love. What then how do you get more love? Okay, to get out of the fear. You want more connection? You have to pick up the phone and phone the people you want to connect with. If there's not an action behind it, and the universe then will go, oh, he or she wants more connection, they're actually acting on that. Oh, we'll give them more connection. So how you get what you want comes from giving what you want, okay? So what's happening right now is the blood moon eclipse that we are coming up on November 8th is a magical event, and it's going to coincide with the full moon. So imagine that, eh? Another eclipse. So we had an eclipse with a new moon, and now we have an eclipse with a full moon. And this is a powerful one because it's in the sign of Scorpio. So part of to understand the bigger question of what's all happening is, can you remember to May of this year? There's a connection to the astrological event with the eclipses that happened in May to what's happening now, to give you a clue as to what issues in your life are you needing to deal with, right? So what happened then? And so the lessons are closely related to path and karmic destiny. This is true for the whole year. I've said for you the whole year that the portal is one where the seeds we plant are going to take us to a new life over the next 10 years, if that's what you want, right? If you want that. But each month we have to consciously plant seeds. What does that look like? For me, that's been changing how I eat. For me, that's been changing how I walk most days. Not that I didn't before, but I consciously do now. I listen to spiritual teachers more regularly. That's part of what my process is just looking at the bigger pictures here. I also connect more with people that are important to me, right? Those are all things that I want more in my life as I move forward. And for sure, there's work goals in there as well. Thanks about being in gratitude. Well, the darkness is there because of the lack of light going into winter, but it's also the darkness of the eclipses and the month, the energies as well. Like the energy of the water tiger has been a portal where actually our fears are coming up because water is on top, which is fear. And okay, so also Melanie, you're a practitioner, Yang water tiger year, right? And now we're in pig month, which has Yang water. More fear is going to come up. Okay, that's what's just happening. If we look at Western astrology, Saturn and Uranus are both featured in this eclipse, okay, that's coming up with a full moon. So are you ready? This is actually a question to ask yourself. Are you ready? Are you saying to God or to your angels, okay, I'm ready, right? Like bring it. I'm ready to work with this energy to become a better version of myself, right? And so you might experience a purging effect, okay, in the next week, all right, in the next actually couple weeks, okay, a purging effect, because Uranus is the planet of awakening and breaking boundaries and is very active under this eclipse, and Saturn is the planet of karma. So now you have breaking free of karma. What decisions do you need to make this month that you have not made, right? This is, and if you're not clear and you don't have clarity, I think in the next month you're going to get clarity. Okay, and I'll go through each day master as well. And I'm going to go through some of this today, but I'm actually also really going to encourage you to consider being a part then of the manifesting magic class where I get to take you deeper, right? Where you get to actually make a commitment to actions every day. All right. Now I'm just sort of saying general things. So the great release exercise, here's one that you can all do, is writing a letter of all that is troubling you. Okay, so write a letter of all that's in troubling you. Yeah, tremendous amount of scarcity, heavy on your heart. Right, but in the meantime, you're sitting in the chair that you are, eating the food that you have, and being in the house that you are, and you're okay. So we have to get out of that stuck version, because all the time we're just sitting, standing, or lying down, and change the story so that we look forward instead of look backward. Because if we look backward, the fear of the past is going to move us forward. So this is what actions can you do to change that narrative? So write a letter of everything that's troubling you, puke it out, and then burn it. Okay, then burn it. And the good night to do that would be on the full moon. So you can join us with the full moon meditation. It's coming up on the 8th. All right. So there's an aspect also of Chinese astrology called ascending and descending qi, right? And because the dog, not the dog, the pig is the best friends with the tiger, okay? And so the best friends with the, no, let me get this right. The pig is good friends with the tiger, but last month the dog was best friends with the rabbit. And between those two things and the water of the tiger year being in the pig, this is for the practitioners, the annual energy of next year has in some ways already been activated. Okay, and so there's it's a very meaning. Actually, what does that all mean? Doesn't matter what all the technicalities are. This is a good month for soul work. That's actually what the bottom line is, okay? If we look at the lunar hexagrams for the monthly hexagrams, right? This pig month is the most yin month of the year. Okay, it is the most yin month of the whole year. The hexagram is actually Earth, so it's completely yin. And yin is inner work. All right, so inner work. So this is the month that I'm going to help you and support you in the different portals about doing inner work. All right, so yeah, the metal pig, the hexagram, another hexagram that's about the month is about union. Okay, and so time to unite. Stop comparing yourselves to others if it's making you sad or with envy, unless comparing actually motivates you to do better, right? And what's the energy, the message here, even with union, right? It's to join instead of to separate. You know, really at the end of the day, that's metaphysics. There's two choices, join or separate. And what emotion do you think is ideally associated with joining? Love. And what emotion is associated with fear or with separating? Fear. So some of the simplest questions that I ask myself on a regular basis is to, yeah, I read a question here, just a sec. So some of the simplest things. So when I notice that I'm in fear and comparing and separating, I actually just go, oh, that's my mind. That's just a thought. I can choose a different thought. Thanks, Crystal. The I Ching course will be great. We'll really get into that more and talk about that. But how to stop comparing? The first step, Jane, actually, with how to stop comparing is to actually go, oh, there I am comparing. That's not serving me. I'm letting that go. Because eventually the ego will stop. The ego will stop. So if this is poor me, I'm single, I'm not married, I don't have a good job, or beating yourself up over past decisions and things like that, write it down. And in your mind, you could even figuratively put it on an altar and ask your higher self to help you release that. Like that's the things I do. It's like, oh, I don't want that thought. I'm handing it over to my higher self. Because as long as we're super identified with the personality that we are here on earth, like soul work is not the body, right? Soul work is not the immediate stuff. Soul work is bringing to your body a higher vibration of manifestation. Forget, and really, Jane, even as I see what you're saying there, I think a really important part of this is forgiveness. And that's one of the biggest things we focus on in the full moon meditation. Forgive yourself for the past. Forgive others for the past. Because and just consciously go, oh, I'm stuck in that loop. Now, and could you, oh, actually, one of the things I want to share with you, there's a couple new features on our website. We haven't even announced them yet, but we have a Living with Purpose page. And on the Living with Purpose page on the website, I'm sharing with you the books I read, the practitioners I use in the metaphysical spiritual pursuits of things, in that can support you to not, not just do feng shui. There are many things we can all do. And so I'm really excited to be integrating all these parts of myself with our team, because we're all in alignment with this, right? To bring to you tools. Feng shui is one tool and astrology is other tools, but both of those work with personal growth. Okay. So what's happening in the world? Let's just get back to that. Yeah, the hexagram. It's like join, I had a really deep, dark night of the soul 3 years ago. And I knew that the way out was to reach out, because I have a tendency myself to not reach out. I tend to be the one who solves the problems for other people. And I actually had to learn to reach out. And you know what the miracle was in all that? In my willingness to surrender to that and to my willingness to go through that, because that was the key too, willing, to evolve. I knew I was releasing karma. It just felt so dark and deep and heavy that I had to join with people who cared for me, and that I had to be open to that. And every single time I picked up the phone and called someone, someone was there. Every single time. I always had support. I had a lot of nights with tears, and then sometimes I would just listen then to a spiritual reading, right? Like I had to change how I live in the world. Right. And that is the biggest gift that going through these last 3 years for me has been. So why astrology? And I knew these last 6 years would be very hard, because I'm not fond of what's called metal and water elements energetically. They put pressure in my life. But so I've been walking this eclipse, if you will, for a while. I feel so much peace and freedom, generally speaking, in my life these days that I wouldn't even have thought possible by learning how to reframe my thinking. And so some of that process work might even be doing some therapy, or, and some readings or things like that. So my son, who is studying psychology and has different modalities, is every new person that signs up for Manifesting Magic for 3 months gets a session with him. And one of the sessions with him as a gift, just a free gift that we're offering, because he offers ways that you can start to release the past through process work called Psych K, and do new things in the future, right? You have to rid yourself of the old beliefs. Why? Why is this all important? Because we all deserve to be happy. We all do. We all deserve to be happy. We all deserve. Karma is never to punish. Okay, so what happens too? We're vibrational beings. The year has a vibration, so it stirs things up. The month has a vibration, it stirs things up, right? And so, why does it do that? Because we're either making karma or releasing karma. It's not even about punishing, it's about learning to trust a higher self outside of ourselves. And so, to grow and evolve, we're here to free ourselves from patterns of fears and limitations. Okay, so the drive to understand our life purpose is for many of us as important to our personal and psychological growth as eating is a tool for physical growth. All right. Yeah. Thanks, Lois, for putting that in there. And so, yeah, it is really important to understand everything happens for you, not to you. Seriously, your soul signed up for this lifetime. It is such an exciting time to be here. Yes, there's so much fear, but the potential to learn about the matrix and to learn how powerful a manifester you actually are has never been greater. Can you change your fate and create a better destiny? Yes, you can, right? Every person holds the key. And so this is now the purpose I've become really quite clear between these conscious conversations and monthly moon group meditations and now, the manifesting magic. And then if you want to go deeper and study, but you don't have to, you can do the simpler things where we are actually offering you monthly tools and guides that support you to live a better life. The choice is just yours, right? And so we are now, so for this next part, I'm going to talk about your day masters and the energy of the water pig month, a metal pig month. So what happens is you have a day master that's one of the 5 elements, yin or yang, okay, the day master. And the day master is the top element of the day pillar. And the day pillar then interacts, that's the part that most interacts, if you will, personally. I mean, of course, there's much more to it, to the monthly energies. Okay, and so now we're entering into water. Okay, so one of the simplest things we could just say, there's going to be 3 months of water, along with this theme of fear that's coming on and these different things that are happening, because that's just sort of a universal thing, right? and you guys make me laugh. And so the water theme, if you are a water day master, is your fears will likely come up with friends. I'm going to go in depth with this a bit too, but let's just make this simpler. If you are a yang water or a yin water day master, whatever lessons or things you need to learn in the next 3 months will be in your interconnections with other people. If you are a wood day master, it's about the support that you receive in your life and perhaps your mother, because typically we think support is mother, but it could be your staff, it could be different things. So your fears are going to come across if you're a wood day master around support and how comfortable you feel, and perhaps even your health. There might be health issues. That could be true for all of us. Oh, let me just get a little bit more light on myself here. Let's see how dark it is. Sorry. That should help a bit. See my face. Um, if you are a fire day master, and water to you is what we call the influence element, because water can put out fire, but as it's putting out the fire, it is also what we call controlling you, and that it means you could gain authority, or you're going to feel overly controlled. But your fears will come up either in authority positions or in people telling you what to do and you're resisting or whatnot. So each of these themes will affect us in a different way. If you're an Earth Day Master, water to you, which is the main theme again of the next 3 months, is wealth element. So your fears will come up around money or how you manage money or work issue, maybe even just your workload, different things like that. And if you are a metal day master, water is your output. So your fears will either be your children if you're a woman, or you're going to doubt your ideas, or you're getting things done, getting stuff out there, being seen, and that type of thing. So there's the general theme, okay, one way. If you are yang wood, we could go in specifically. Again, it's with direct officer. This is more for the practitioners, but okay, let's just say, so yang wood, yin metal is direct officer, and inside the pig is yang water primarily, right? And it's also the friend element. So depending on your chart, direct officer means you could get a raise, you could get a more authority. It comes with indirect resource. Your instincts should be good. But if there's already too much water in your chart, you're going to be overwhelmed and unable to stay focused because the water's going to like flow you downstream before you can be rooted, right? So you're going to have to work with this consciously. I would say don't take on too much. It's probably a work-related month, but you can make things happen if you focus. Yin wood comes with what's called 7 killings and direct resource. And don't be worried about the name 7 killings, because 7 killings just means, it's again, a type of influence element. And it's interesting, it comes with direct resource, but it's yang water to the yin wood, which again, too much water, that wood floats. So there's a tendency then to take shortcuts to get things done because that's the 7 killings. So you're going to have to be careful to make sure that you are conscientious in being thorough, because the rob wealth element is there as well. If you're not, what will happen is you will potentially be somebody else will take credit for what you're doing, right? So, but if you're thorough and you use this energy well, you could really use this to work with someone else to get ahead this month. Yang fire. All right, so yang fire is coming with a wealth combination and a yang water. Now for yang fire, yang water is not a clash. It is a reflection, right? Because the sun is reflecting in the water. And so, but it's hidden in the branch. So you're going you could potentially have more authority and more visibility and make money from that, but you're going to have to work a bit to get that. And your instinct should be pretty good because your, jaw is indirect resource. Wealth and influence is there. I would just say be careful with it a bit because there's a tendency to work a bit too hard. And anytime indirect resource is too strong, you start getting the fear comes up, right? And so ask the question when you're feeling fear. Slow down a second and actually say, what's the gift in this that I could see and learn from and do things differently, right? Yin fire has also lots of wealth opportunities this month, and also a position. You could rise in status. If you're a single woman, you might potentially meet someone. That's also a possibility. But overall, I think for yin fire, as long as there's not too much water in your chart, it should be a good month for you. We like direct officer and direct resource. They tend to be gentle energies, and they tend to provide opportunities for growth in business, particularly, if you will, or in having more authority, or just being seen as more capable. Yang Earth Daymaster, yin metal to you is an output element we call hurting officer, but what that means is this is the month to have you to be seen, to have your product be shown, to come up with ideas, right? To let your words be seen, and then it comes with wealth element. So this is really a good month for you to take your ideas and start cashing in on them, to start offering some products on that. And it comes really wonderfully with yang wood, the 7 killings, which you need to kind of sometimes break up the earth so that you're more productive. I know that this is just a this talk is more specific for people that have had a little bit of study. So I'll talk about the animals in a second. I'm hoping that this is still, for those of you that are beginners, makes some sense. Yin Earth also has the output element, eating God, and it comes with direct wealth. So definitely as well, your ideas could make you money. But what could happen though with the water, okay, so Yin Earth can't hold water as well as Yang Earth can, okay? And you guys who are practitioners know you have to look at the whole chart, okay? Because the strength of the elements definitely impacts this. And for those of you that have never had a reading with me and want to go deeper, perhaps this is the time. I'm already having bookings. I'm booking out about 3-4 weeks from now because people are booking for annual readings. The yin earth becomes like mud with too much water. And there's a lot of water happening now the next 3 months. And then Earth's job is actually to grow plants. And so what could happen if you're not careful is you get so carried away with money-making opportunities that you get exhausted and your health is hurt. So you have to watch that a bit, okay, the next few months. And also I would say watch a little bit your greed. Not that greed, because I think greed isn't, I don't mean greed here like a negative thing. I mean it here like you see so much potential in different ideas that are really good that you can't help yourself, but in that process of can't helping it yourself, you get unbalanced. All right, so watch that. However, you have the friend element inside. No, no, there is no friend element. Just a minute. Eating God, and then the pig is yang wood. Sorry. You have the direct officer element there as well, which can help control you and support you as well. Yang metal. You have output with the metal. Actually, no, you have rob wealth with the metal, sorry. And then you have output in the water. Okay. And then you have indirect wealth with the wood. So what that is saying is you actually have, it's a good month to work and support with others where there's win-win solutions to create ideas and move forward. Anytime Rob Wealth shows up, and a lot of people don't like it, that's a terrible name, isn't it? Because it makes it seem as if somebody's going to rob you. But it's the same gender element, like metal with metal, but it's the opposite polarity. So yang metal sees yin metal as Rob Wealth. That can mean competition. So what's the best use of competition? If you have competition, don't fight it. Actually, anytime you fight reality, you suffer, right? So if it shows that there's competition in the air this month, so to speak, right? What's the best use? It's like, oh, okay, we recognize, find someone who can help you, whom you can help, and then together by creating win-win solutions, you can actually both make money, maybe a little bit less than if you're doing it all by yourself. But the key is actually you have to work with someone else this month to make it work. So that's how you work with it. It's not about waiting, starting hoarding your money and being afraid, oh, they're going to come and take away my ideas. No, share your ideas. The opposite is actually true. Rise above it, right? And so the opportunities here are to work with others and to make life better, right? Create ideas. Yin metal has friend elements, so you're going to be really social this month, right? Yin metal day master, you're going to be very social, and the you're going to be very social, and you're going to have output element, and that can create wealth for you. Okay, so if it shows that you have friends being with you, how many of you are actually strategic in your life? Like, this is actually a really important part of getting ahead, right? Being strategic. And so if in a month it shows, I'm telling you, oh, you're going to have a really social month and you like being social. And so all these friends phone you up. You want to go out for dinner? You want to go out for dinner. At the end of the month, you've lost money because you went out for dinner so much. Now you have to be strategic. You have to choose who to go for dinner with that can help you get ahead. There's nothing wrong with that versus who you go out for dinner with or hang out with who keeps you stuck. And that actually, I think, is one of the biggest lessons that we're all going to go through in the next few months, right? The top 5 people you hang out with in your life reflect your life. And so this is an important way for you to become a better person. If you hang out with people who complain and you complain, you're not going to get ahead. Complainers and blamers, that's it. That's your life. So you actually have to choose to start saying, I'm not going to gossip. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to move ahead. All right. That's your opportunity. Yang water has the opportunity to study something this month and just get better, to improve their knowledge, to improve their home, to improve things around them. Like there's an opportunity. Yang water, though, with more water is going to feel a bit overwhelmed. There's also too many friends around, sort of thing, distracting you. So the biggest challenge for you, I think, these next 3 months is to stay focused to your goals, because you're probably going to get unfocused. More water, it's like, oh, somebody said, I really like this statement, flying fish. Because if you see a bunch of flying fish, you can't help but go, what? You're going to have to actually take your eyes off the flying fish and stay focused. And the opportunity for you to do better is if you can stay focused. I think the ideas, it's a really good month to get your ideas known. So if you do blogging or if you do any type of social media or those types of things, you should get better results and you should be able to monetize them. The key is to stay focused. All right. And then yin water also has resource, but it has rob wealth and it has hurting officers. So that tends to be a little bit of a difficult combination if you're not careful, in that I think there's a tendency that you might feel this month, if you're a yin water day master, a bit overwhelmed, and and the tendency would be to complain about that. Okay. So how can you, I would say this is a great month to do journaling and inner work and to actually really sort of see what are the thoughts that are, spend more time alone. I would actually think for you, even though there's people out there who are going to really want to hang out with you, it's a good month to really strategically pick healthy people to be with. That will help you. All right. So that's the 10-day masters. Let's talk about the animals. Okay, so I'm not talking about all the animals, but what I will talk about is the ones that actually interact with the month. Now, just because I say you have a combination or because I say you have a clash doesn't mean actually I think good or bad. Traditionally, the ancient texts used to talk about combinations were better. But you know what happens when you have a combination where opportunities come to you? Most people relax because they're like, oh, they're feeling better. They're feeling like you're going to feel like you're in flow. You're waste the opportunity if you're not ready to actually be focused and take action. Whereas a clash tends to, you feel uncomfortable enough to take action. Now, in your life, guys, those of you here, right? How many of you have taken more action out of a negative happening, right? Like you feel unhappy in a job or you feel unhappy in something, than when you're actually feeling relaxed and good. You see, it's like one usually just costs you money, and the other one is actually, I need to make a change. Okay, so let's just look at that. The tiger animal, if you have a tiger in your chart, but particularly in the year, you should experience this month particularly good fortune. All right. However, it comes in what's called a combination destruction. All right. So the combination destruction, actually, the whole year you have felt pressure because it's the tiger year. And now, and you are a tiger. So what that means is the spotlight is on you, right? The spotlight's on you. And so you've been feeling, who am I and what do I want to be seen for? Now, this month, a combination is coming to you, but it's a combination destruction. I would say the destruction happens. So, what the part happens there is if you're not true to your values, then what looked like something good happening this month is going to go sideways. Okay. So, stay focused on what grows you and stay away from pettiness. Okay. This is really important things to really focus on energies that are joining and not focus on energies that are separating. And you don't need to make people wrong. You just stay right, and so there is good fortune opportunities, but you have to have clarity and you have to be true to your values. And as we enter into age 9, which is the age of fire, which is where we're going, and into the year of the rabbit, age 9 is officially here in 2024, but its influence has already been around for 5-6 years. The fire is asking us to evolve to our higher selves, to the higher potential of who we are. And months like this for all of us, or years like this even indeed, are taking us there already, where we're actually being asked to say, what do I like and don't like? Okay, so the rabbit also has a combination to the pig. So if you have rabbit in your chart this month, you have a combination and you're already doing pretty good in the year. So there are opportunities for you out there. And the opportunities could be, go look. Oh, and here's the good news, guys. If I tell you that you have a clash or I don't mention your animal here, it doesn't mean you don't have luck. It means you have to make your luck. You can always make your luck. It doesn't mean you don't have luck. Okay. We are conscious beings with the ability to take action. And so that's the key. What are you taking action in? And if every day you are pushing down the feelings you're feeling and you're keep on repeating the same behaviors that aren't getting you anywhere, time to push the envelope, guys, and make a change, right? If you want change. Okay, so the rabbit in general, good month. Dragon, also friends to the pig month. Okay, so you're going to experience opportunities. Now, how can you get opportunities? If you take, for sure, there's much more in-depth metaphysics that says if you sit in this corner and you face that direction, and some of that we talk about in manifesting magic and things like that. But, and you know, what part of the house I'm going to do in the annual talk. The annual talk's coming up in December. Where's the best opportunities there, and what luck in depth can each sign have? We're going to do that. I'll tell you a heads up here. Next year, I don't have what's called lucky animals, but I'm okay with that because for the last 30 years of studying Chinese metaphysics, I know how to work with that. It doesn't mean I'm not lucky. It just means I have to look for opportunities in a different way, right? For sure, because then you make luck. And so I'm very good at making luck, right? And I know it's possible. You don't need to rely on just whether, you know, you've got peach blossom or a nobleman or you're the best friends, even though it helps, because most people, you know what, if I tell you this is a lucky month, you guys don't act on it, you know, like most people don't, or it takes time. And so why is that? Why do we self-sabotage? So anyways, the best animals this month, if you will, are the tiger, the rabbit, and the dragon. Okay, and the goat. Okay, the goat as well has opportunities this month. With hard work and efforts, you will be rewarded. Okay, the snake, however, has a clash. So if you have a clash to the pig, this is a very good month to end something. Okay, waiting instead of the pig clash ending it for you, right? You know, whatever it is, and an ending could even be a tooth being pulled, you know, like something, but the difference might be, you know, you make the phone call to make it happen, or the other one could be you get a, you know, an abscess and it forces you or something. So but what's happening with a clash is you usually know what part of your life you need to make a change in. So what the universe is just asking you this month is to quit something that's not good, whether it's smoking, eating certain things, or yeah, you're welcome, Crystal, you know, or like what can you choose to end? What behaviors? And so, or start something new, a meditation practice, right? Like an intention practice. The pig has what's called a self-punishment to the month. And so pig and pig have a self-punishment. Now, this is depending on what water is to your day master. That's one way to look at how the self-punishment will show up. But often, I think what happens with the pig, because it's water and built into the pig is fear, is that then they procrastinate and get stuck. So your self-punishment might be, you know, there's something you need to do and you don't act on it. So act on it. Okay, like that's the key here. And monkey pig, it's a what we call a harm. And partly why they call it a harm is because the pig takes away your best friend. So this is a month where you might experience hurt feelings over someone close to you being closer to somebody else, right? Like you're feeling a bit left out. You're not feeling as included. So if the universe is saying this is the month where you're not going to feel included as much, and you know that ahead of time, then choose, maybe the message is you should self-reflect more. And so don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. I wouldn't even react. Do inner work, right? And so need to stay focused. And so what can happen is if you're thinking that you're not as popular or you're not as liked or you're this, a bit more depression, definitely some depression could come this month. But, you know, unless you are lazy and self-indulgent, meaning, and you actually change your behaviors to become poor me, you should be fine. If you can stay focused and do the best you can and kind of read books and do those type of things, the month will be fine. But it's like if you start trying to be, this isn't the month for you to be the show off. This isn't the month for you to be number one. That's not what the energies are. The energies are for you to actually lay low and you be the change. If other people are being petty, this is your opportunity to not be petty. All right. And the rat has an emotional month. Pay attention to your mental health, more water, right? So what kind of things can you do to have more joy, right? And some of that, to me, the things that bring me the most joy are sharing a meal with people I love. But personally, I like to cook. So, I'll cook dinner for someone, or I'll have someone over, I'll share a meal. Just sharing time together, right? That brings joy. So, emotional month, rats associate with people who love you and don't take it personally. You're just sensitive. Anybody who has a lot of water in their chart is more sensitive because water absorbs everything it touches to some degree. And the trick here is to just realize that this too shall pass and relax and observe. What's it teaching you? What fears? Is that a real fear? Is that really something to be afraid about? Is there something I can do about it? What can I do about it? Instead of just feeling it, like actually look at it. And then the dog has good wealth luck this month, and the ox has good wealth luck this month. Just meeting, and the ox is also popular, might meet their love partner. There's like a peach blossom energy there. The dog is good for sales, and single dogs also have peach blossom luck. People are looking at you. And the rooster, um, yes, unless you are lazy, your performance will be noticed by others. Actually, your performance will be noticed by others. So it's similar to what I was saying before. I think it was about the pig or the rat, that your performance will be noticed by others. What do you want to be seen for? Okay, because people are looking at you. And the horse, the horse has a hidden combo with the pig. And so practitioners, it means the hidden stems both combine with each other here. And so that actually means hidden issues might be revealed. I think in general, not a bad month, but just be heads up that things might not look like what you think. Okay, so there's just a very brief general look at the 12 animals. I do not go super in depth with this whole thing because you have to look at the whole chart to understand the whole chart. This is just for fun, guys, okay? All right, so now let's talk about your house and your feng shui. Okay, so for those of you that are practitioners, you guys know that this month the 2 is what we call flies into the center. I'm talking here now about flying stars, okay? But I want to say to you too, whether you're new or whether you're not new, the number one thing about feng shui is first what we call forms. And the forms are the actual physical environment. And most of that is actually the energy of the house is determined by the location it's built in, how much land is around the house, what direction it faces, and things. So I'm giving you some general stuff here, but I want you to understand too, if I tell you that next month, the Southeast, which I will, is a very good sector to spend time in, but you have outside a dead tree, it's not going to benefit you, okay, in the same way, because the energy is influenced by what's outside. So the idea here is to also take action and make the sectors around your house as healthy and positive as possible. So the best sector, if you will, or what I'm thinking next month is actually the Southeast. It's got what's called a 1-4 combination, which is like it can be good for connecting. It can be good for single people. We call that a peach blossom. Peach blossom, you know why they call romance peach blossom? Is because the blossoms bring fruit. They produce a result. Isn't that pretty? And so, yeah, it's just a nice combination. It's very good for connection. So if you can spend more time, or if you have the ability to sit and work in different sections, right? The Southeast is good for connection. And if you network with people, you'll just learn from the people you're networking with. And this just overall, star 1 is a nobleman star. I'm just going to say the Southeast is a really good sector, okay? The Northwest is going to be a little bit, actually, if you need to be more aggressive, the Northwest is maybe a good sector to be more aggressive in. It's what we call a 3-6 combination, but it's going to be a power struggle type of energy. So it's the father. It's like feeling somebody's trying to control you. Now, sometimes it's just helpful to go, oh, I spend a lot, like I sleep in the Northwest and I'm not going to move my bed. So it's like, interesting. That's going to be an influence for me this month, and just feeling, well, I'm feeling a little bit more controlled. Not necessarily by my son, that's not the thing. It's just an energy of that month. But the fighting spirit is stronger. So, but what happens if you have a stronger fighting spirit? You might get more clarity on what to do, what actions to take. Okay, so in the north, the combinations there are actually very good for communication, popularity, also for romance, but more type of not long-term romance, fun romance, or what did somebody say? Naughty romance, right? So it's yeah, you know, so increase your joyful events, but they're very much associated with people, could be also very much associated with sexual activities, good for travel, good for talking, performing, sweet talking results. That's the energy of the north. So whatever palace, we call them palaces, you spend more time in, that's the influence you're going to have this month. In the northeast, we have 5-8. The two of them are both actually very powerful stars. 8 because it's timely, and the 5 because it's the 5, it's the emperor. Then the 5 is not timely, so it tends to bring with it what we call a it can bring with it lessons, if you will. So if it's a wealth, I actually think it should be the 5 will be quite at home in the Northeast Palace. So I actually think it's not as negative as some people are talking about. However, it I would say wealth opportunities can come up for people that are in the Northeast sector, but make sure you do your due diligence because the 5 is very temperamental. So depending on what gua you are and how you interact with it and what the forms are, that's going to tell you what the influence is. In the east is a 3-9 wood and fire, and we call this wood fire brilliance. And so that actually also is very good for study, and people will see you, you have greater clarity, right? And it's good if you're trying to stand out, right? Because the wood's burning the fire, you're going to have be seen. And I talked about the southeast. The south, we have a combination there, very rebellious energy there in the south, and very unstable actually, because it's 9-6 burning heaven's gate. And anytime that happens, it's like you feel rebellious against authority. So I would just be, if you're going to sit it, just, you know what? I never say don't use the sector. I don't. I actually think all the sectors have a purpose depending on what they bring up for you. I just show you this so that you can actually maybe see what happens if you watch TV always in a particular sector. Do you observe how your emotions might change month by month? What's going on, right? The South has a combo, Southwest has a combo 10, which is what we call very good for wealth too. And so Southwest is a good energy, especially if the Southwest and the center of your house are open to one another, right? And so, however, there's a risk of sickness with the combination that's happening in the Southwest this month. But sickness, this star, we call it a star, can only bring sickness if you are stagnant. It is actually a star of stagnation. So if you are someone that is taking responsibility for the events in your life, I actually think the Southwest is a great palace to use, okay? And then in the West, 4 with 7, not the greatest combination. Some even call it the stupid combination, but people talking too much and talking about nothing. Okay, so that's a bit what they are. However, it can be good for traveling and just be aware. It's like, oh, okay, this is a bit of a talking, gossiping, you know, sort of energy. If you consciously sit there and don't do damage to anyone, I think it's fine. I think it could actually be an energy where you're going to be more metaphysical and insightful. So that takes us through the palaces, all right? And okay, I have some activations, which I'm going to give you in a second, okay? And I'm going to do that. But in the meantime, I just want to say that in early December, I don't know the date, Lois has posted the annual Feng Shui. I'm doing 2 annual classes this year, one that's more advanced in December and one that's more for the general public in January, okay? Both will be actually similar information, of course, because the information's the same. The difference will be, if you're wondering, is the technicality of how I speak, okay? So I will speak in a little bit more technical terms for those of you that are students or those things, and of course the advanced class, because you understand your own Batsi or your own Gua and those types of interactions more. And so that's what's going to happen in December. And you know, but the thing here is, and I look forward to seeing you all there. But we still have 3 months left in this year. That's the big takeaway here, if you will, is there's still 3 months left in this year. And this year is a very powerful year. And I actually think that the next 3 months are the most powerful of the months of this year. Okay, so this is not a month to kind of, or season to not be true to your values. Do you even know what your values are? So for those of you, what we do in the manifestation magic class each season, okay, because I divide them up into seasons, right? So there's descent, pig, month, and rat. Pig, rat, and ox is a season. The first part of the season, we work on getting clarity on what is it you actually want. Because you may think that you, like we all think, okay, are you, I don't know if you're at all like me, but for the longest time, I thought if my kids did this, I'd be happy. If my husband did this, I'd be happy. If I had a new house, I'd be happy. If I had a new car, I'd be happy. You know, if I had a new job, I'd be happy. What I realized, and I'm good at manifesting, so I've manifested lots of things. But you know, at the end of the day, I wasn't always happy. You were happy for a couple of weeks, and then it's like, oh, that feeling again of whatever, I'm not enough, or it's not good enough, or I need, you know, dissatisfaction, restlessness comes up. And that actually made me realize is that my thoughts are creating my reality. And when you actually understand, and this has been clarified for me more in spiritual teachings and that, and it's used to be a part of feng shui, and it used to be like with the Taoism and that, how people came to these subjects is that they realized the wholeness of it all. And so heaven, earth, and man is a very important teaching in the Chinese metaphysics. And I actually think that the biggest influencer of that whole thing is the man. Because when man or human, okay, woman, um, no disrespect meant, okay, with language here, but that's just the ancient teachings were worded that way. Uh, that when we become aware of our vibrations and energies, right? When we become aware of our vibrations and energies and consciously start working with them to change them, everything else changes. So hence, when I say change your space, change your life, we can change your house, and that's going to provoke you to change a bit. But unless you're not consciously working with it, it's going to be limited. And I am now teaching more and more how each sign's karma and each sign's destiny is tied up in the blueprint you were born with, and how we can work through the lessons and opportunities that you're given now. And I love the manifesting magic class for that. All right. And the deeper stuff is great, but yeah, I'm just telling you, if you want to actually have a place where you take more direct action, that's the place to go. I have two activations for you. Okay. So one is for November 7th, and the one for November 7th, it's actually November 7th, and then it goes into November 8th in the morning. Okay. So because at night, November 7th at 11:30 p.m., you take a bath. What this is to release karma and to set new intentions. And so it's at the end of the month and starting in the new month. So there's such a thing in Chinese metaphysics, or in, I'm not sure if it's Buddhist or Taoist, I've called a flower bath. You could take a flower bath, but you can take an Epsom salt bath. And all types of magic, if you will, Wiccan and those types of things talk about cleansing baths, baptism, right? Those types of things. Take a cleansing bath at 11:30 p.m. till midnight kind of thing, right? Into midnight. And then at 12:30 a.m., you are going to sit in the south and you're going to face north. And this is about releasing your struggles, to clean your energy and release your struggles. And in a way, to me, it's almost like a surrender, right? I surrender. Use me. Let me be the highest version of myself. Now, that's one way you can use it, but you could just release the battle. You know, your higher self and your angels want to help you. How often do you let them? And so part of this is learning to work with universal energy so they can support you. All right. And so that's for November 7th and then leading into the 8th. Okay. So in the morning. So sit in the south and face north. This is to clean your energy and relieve struggles, write and release. You could then burn it, meditate. All right. That's the way to go. And well, then you take a shower now, Melanie. Like you soak your feet in Epsom salts. Like you do something. November 16th is another one, and this is Very good overall day. It's an open day between 11 and 1. It's good for what we call a wealth activation. So if you know about your gua and your personal sector, I mean, you could do the Southwest. That's a combo 10 even, right? That would be good for that. You could activate the nobleman if you know what the noblemans are, right? But it's just like even just if your own personal gua sector is good, you can activate there. But if not, if you're not going to actually do an activation, the other thing that you can do between 11 and 1 is face southeast and send off an email or a letter or a request, some type of money thing that would help you that to someone, or to send out a list or whatnot. But there's a opportunity with that as well. Talk to someone. Like facing southeast between 11 and 1 is the direction to face for the meditation. And otherwise, really, you can activate the rabbit south 2 in the, let me just look here. No, you can't activate the rabbit. You can activate the rooster west 2 because it's a rooster day. All right. And so, and then November 26th, again, is a very good day. It's a success day between 3 and 7 a.m. or 11 and 1 p.m., right? And I'm actually not telling you what to activate. It's more, if you know your gua, activate your personal sector. And if you know the stars, the 26th, let me see, it's a water goat day. Actually, you could do East 2 then, the rabbit, one of the 4 nobles, okay? AM 11 and 1 for 16th AM to PM, like noon, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Good for wealth activation. Yeah, thanks. All right. So I'm just going to close here with and feel free to put your questions in, but I call on all the beings of light and higher consciousness to be present and guide you, right? In this upcoming month, to guide us all, to give you the courage to be the person you long to be, to make the changes you need in order to be happy. Please send all the angels and beings from light to support us, to help us from stopping running away and avoiding our fears. Guide us to the insights and realizations that need to be seen, for the actions that are best to be taken, and for the people, this is an important part, who can support you. Call on people to support you. And for the willingness and courage to get up each day, to breathe and to be present. Guide us, beings of light, to our life of our dreams, and shine a light so that even when we are afraid, we're not alone. We humbly ask for the healing power of grace to clear our minds and guide us. Okay, and so it is. So yeah, are you open and curious? The success day on the 26th, Melanie, is a good day to do you can activate the Southwest, you can activate the rabbit, you can activate different things, but that's a good day for wealth, okay? Yeah. And so, yeah, that takes us to the end of this month. And so I know I will see many of you tomorrow in Manifesting Magic. And thank you to Lois for all the support here, and to Irene with the Spanish comments, which is great. We're going to be doing more of that. Actually, we're going to do, Irene and I are going to do a Spanish annual class in January as well. So really excited. We'll announce that in the next few weeks. Yeah, Lois. Yeah, you're a star. The other one, 11 to 1. Yes. Okay, guys, I wish you a lovely day. Thank you for having joined me. And we'll talk to you all again soon.